Tom, commiserations on our 4-2 loss today. What was your take on the game?
You know, we were reasonably bright in certain elements in the first half. You know, we sort of got ourselves into some good positions, created some good chances, but, you know, we weren't clinical. And then they showed us sort of what needed to be done in terms of being ruthless, and they've created probably not quite as much as us, or certainly not more than us, but, you know, they end up being 2-0 up, and then you could see then the fight just drained out of us, and I just felt then we ended up looking very ragged and very demoralised. We ended up being well beaten, and it was sort of it was quite a humiliating. You know, I just found it humiliating really to be at home in a situation where we're fighting for our lives. We know that, and to end up, as I say, you know, being so well beaten. You know, we had a little flurry at the end, but we were just well beaten, and I haven't really had that since I've come here, that I can think that we've really been sort of out, beaten convincingly. There's just an awful lot that concerns me. I sort of feel quite embarrassed by it. I feel very let down by it, but you know, I sort of, you're learning about people and players every day, every match, and you know, I just have to, you know, I can't afford just to keep watching the same things and seeing the same sort of elements of real sort of inadequacies and just allow it to continue. So we just have to keep trying to improve. I think we have to keep trying to bring players in. I just feel, I just feel very, very embarrassed and let down really. But you know, I have to sort of I think as a group I always say you have to sort of really absorb the sort of pain of it. You can't shy away from it, and then you have to come out fighting. But you know, it's clear to me that we still need to probably make changes in terms of the squad, because if we carry on as we are, then I don't think we're going to see, you know, significant change, and significant change is what's needed.
Okay, you mentioned you were concerned by a few areas today. What concerned you the most?
Well, just like I say, you know, I thought the one thing that we would really have is an unbelievable sort of energy and physicality because of the situation we're in. And if we were a little bit short on quality in certain areas, or you know, we made mistakes, but there was a real sort of physicality and effort about us, then I think sometimes you have to forgive quite a lot of things. But I just was so disappointed at how comfortable it was for them at times. That's the big thing. Like I say, we're at home, we're in a relegation battle, and
just grab my stuff. It's just there. Sorry.
Yeah, we're at home, we're in a relegation battle. You cannot allow any team to come here and be comfortable, and at times that's what happened.
Okay, obviously in the first half you did have your chances. You mentioned Hungerford were more ruthless. Was that purely the difference today, the main difference? I mean, they took most of theirs, whereas you didn't. Perhaps if you get your noses ahead in the first half, it's a different story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's quite hard for me to be particularly insightful in terms of the second half, because I spent most of it being so sort of annoyed that sometimes you lose your focus on exactly what's happening, and I was getting more and more, you know, as I say, embarrassed, and so I was quite. But in the first half, I did think we were reasonable, but there's no. You know, that we keep talking about these small things. You just have to. We made two ridiculous mistakes, I thought, for their goals, and we were wasteful in terms of our chances, and you know, it's just. But at least there was a little bit about us in the first half. I just felt there were spells in the second half where we looked like we'd given up the ghost. and that's the inexcusable thing.
Yeah, 2 excellent goals though, which is the ironic part. I guess after the horses bolted though.
Yeah, exactly that. And you know, I look at the people say, "Oh, well, in the second half against Poole, we were good," but the game was, you know, in I'm not going to say the game was done, because obviously we nearly got ourselves back into it. But I just felt the pressure's off you because you're 2-0 down and it's a bit of a free hit, and that just shows a weak mentality. If you're only gonna respond in those moments, then you got a problem with your mentality. You need to be responding in the real sort of tense moments, in the moments that matters at the start of the game, when the game's in the balance. That's where you need to show a strong mentality, not when you're 3-0 up or 3-0 down, or it looks like the game's slipping away from you. I mean, I felt in the second half we scored to go 3-1. They took the kick-off. They passed it back, and I saw more energy from our group at that point than I saw pretty much at any other point in the game. And it's ridiculous, you know. Just because we scored a goal at 3-0, suddenly it was like, oh, come on, you know, how on earth could we not demonstrate some of that urgency earlier? But you know, I feel I've been quite tolerant, and I just feel. I said to the players, I think that if people leave this football club, then not many of them are going to go to better football clubs in terms of what they get and the facilities and all those things. Yeah, in terms of the league table they might, but in terms of this football club, not many people will leave here and do better, and they do need to understand that. But like I say, it's an overwhelming sort of disappointment that we have to allow to soak in, but once it has sort of soaked in to the full extent, you then need to focus on what's ahead, and we need to somehow find a way of getting points at Harrow next week.
By the sounds of it, this is the kind of performance that's sort of forced your hand or maybe convinced you to make big changes.
Yeah, but it's all very well saying make big changes. There's no point in signing players unless they are going to improve you. And it's not easy at this stage of the season. Everyone's looking to recruit. Everyone's looking to improve. So it's not easy just to say, well, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring 3 players in, and these 3 players are going to leave, because you know the opportunity to get better players is limited. There's a small pool of them, and a lot of people wanting them. So, but it just has to be a perseverance in terms of trying to keep making ourselves better in terms of what we've got already, and then also really having a focus on trying to recruit and improve the group. It's like a 2-pronged thing. We have to try and improve what we've got and improve the performance levels from players, but by the same token, you can't just persevere with people, and if you get the opportunity to bring people in that are better and going to offer you more, you have to be ruthless in a position where.
Okay, difficult to analyse debutants, I know, in a loss, but 3 of them did make their first appearances for the club today. What did you make of their performances?
I think the goalkeeper's going to be exceptional for us. I think, I feel very sorry for him. I hope that that he decides to come back next week after that, because he was left exposed, couldn't really do anything with any of the goals. I just think he's going to be very good for us. Especially now he's sort of settled in. He's probably a bit nervous today, but I think once now he's got today out of the way, I just feel he's going to be a really good signing for us. Tyreek, that was probably a bit of a gamble to start him. I thought he did well enough, but I think it showed that he hasn't really played games. He'll benefit from having that time on the pitch. Harvey obviously scored the goal, and who else was there? That's it. Really?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Adam Forster, we just seen come into the room just now. How was he faring?
Unfortunately, he's going to need an operation, and that will mean that he won't play again this season.
Okay. That serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he likely to be out until the next season, or is that
I think the key to it, and this is something we've got to try and look at as a club, is that if he has to wait for an operation on the NHS, then it's a concern, because there's about a 4-month
recovery period. So if he has the operation now, he's not going to play again this season, but he'll be, he should then get a proper pre-season and be ready to go at the start of next year. But if he has to wait for an operation on the NHS and that ends up being 4 months, then that suddenly causes him a problem for next year. So ideally, he would have the operation privately, but that's expensive. So just need to see if there's any way we can help him with that in terms of raising some money, whether that be some sort of GoFundMe sort of thing or whatever. Because I feel he got injured playing for the club, so I feel we need to try and do what we can. But he's not going to play this season anyway.
Okay, Tom, commiserations today, and thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Okay, cheers.